So today, as you know, we have a good training pack for you. We're going to talk about how to be funded and how to actually become a funded trader in 3 months or less, so before the end of the year. I know it's a big claim, it's a big goal to have, but we can do it for sure. We have people who've done this before in a few months and even in a few weeks sometimes. Michael will talk about how to get to 6-7 figures funded trading, so a much bigger level ahead, and it's going to be able to guide you through this. Any questions you have, post them in the chat, and we'll be able to answer those questions at the end, go back to them, and make sure you're feeling empowered and have the tools and the resources required to succeed. And without further ado, let's dive right in, and Michael can take this on and start with his training.
Awesome. Thanks, ATN. Thanks, Alex, for joining, and everyone around the world. I think I was trying to think about the continents that we had covered. We have at least 4 or 5, so that's pretty good. And those who just joining us, again, welcome aboard. I'm super excited to be here, and having a good trading month, to be honest with you. So this is it makes it even more. You may feel my confidence as we go through this, and make sure you have lots of takeaways and lots of value that I want to bring that you can start using as early as your Monday trading. Okay, so you all set? Buckle your seatbelts. Okay, this is going to be fun, but also very educational. And I promise you, again, my mantra is takeaways, constant takeaways for you to take with you. All right. How's my sound? Good. Give me a little quick why if you can hear me well. I try to keep my New York pace to a minimum. I'm right outside of Manhattan, so I will try to be good with that. Great. Thank you again. All right, let's get going. All right, so let's look at where we are in 2023. I know a lot of you had goals for the beginning of the year, or even maybe now you're just getting started. But you blink an eye and we're almost in September. September 1st starts on Friday. It's amazing how we're almost into like the third quarter already. So we need to take a step and say, where are we and where we want to be? Now, a lot of you may be looking at 30-day challenges, or maybe just getting started into evaluating how can I get funded to help me in my trading journey, right? Well, we're already past the mid-year mark, all right? And let's maybe set a sort of simple standard goal of we want to have some type of accomplishment by the end of the year, even earlier if possible, okay? Because we want to go into 2024 with a full head of steam, all right? We can do it. That's why we're here, all right? So let's see where this journey is going to take us. Quick disclaimer. All right, I've been doing this for over 20 years, all right? And we have combined over 40 plus years of experience that I desire to trade with our coaches, all right? These results sometimes are not typical, and we've been doing this for a while. Trading involves some substantial risk. That's why we're here. I'm the risk specialist in the group. And again, managing capital isn't for traders who really don't know the rules, and we're going to talk more about that. Remember, this is some valuable information, but again, use this training at your own risk, okay? So during this training, we're going to talk about 3 specific topics, all right? How to manage outside capital, 100K and more, okay? I want you to think big. Let's not worry about these $10,000 fundings and stuff. We could all start there, but let's start thinking about 6 figures and up, all right? If you don't think like that, you won't get there. We'll talk specifically about the steps to getting funded. A very unique approach, and quite honestly, this has been modified throughout the years, and we found ourselves very unique and special when we see others out there who have sort of programs similar to ours, okay? Very different. So get your pens and a piece of paper ready. I'll show you how we're going to walk you through that. And number 3, we're going to show you some of the crazy mistakes that we've seen and really how important they are to really get you to where you want to go. Success and failure is really defined not by trading more, by getting rid of those stupid little mistakes. All right. A little bit about myself. I've been trading for over 20 years. Can't believe it's kind of flying by that fast. I'm the author of The Risk of Trading, a widely finance book a few years back, really specifies specific on the art of risk management. Very unique aspect of trading that you don't really see too many books on. And it's one of those, it's a little more of a textbook, college, university feel to it, but I know continue to get good feedback on it, and I'm pretty proud of it. All right, next one coming up here as well. Speaker on the Traders Expo circuit, particularly in North America. They call it the Money Show now. It's pretty much the same thing. Certified in risk management in 2007. whether it be for trading risk management and also for consulting for corporate finance risk management. And I'm a traveling trader. I love to combine the art of my living by doing it outside of my home, traveling different parts of the world. And I kind of have a unique and quirky lifestyle of trading on cruises. That's my little sort of combination of work and pleasure at the same time. Okay, so to get the most out of this training, all right, I want you to get your pens, paper ready, and I want you to just take a little thing on the right hand side and just put numbers 1 through 7 and just put a little yes or no on top. Okay, a little simple, and have a little scribbling and to do that. So we'll talk a little bit about best practices during these 7, so you can score them for yourself and see where you're at and what you need to do to get where you want to go. And that's obviously today we're talking about being fully funded. All right, so I need your participation to start with. All right, so let's type in the chat, how many prop firm challenges have you tried so far? So just put a little quick number in there. Okay, good. Doesn't mean if you passed them or didn't. Oh, good. We got some none, 0, which is great. 3 or 4, some have up to 20. Great. So most of you have at least exposed to this or tried. Some have 8 or 10. Okay, good. The cool thing about this is, and even if you haven't started yet, and that's great, that's why you're here, and you took the action to be here. That's so exciting. You've learned something along the way, regardless. If you passed several, haven't, you're still struggling, it's okay. All right, you've learned something along the road, and that's the way, and that's so key. And during that process, we get lots of questions here, right? Especially the ones who didn't pass the first time. What did you do wrong? All right, I know I can do this. Like, you're excited about it, but it just didn't happen, right? How do I fix my mistakes? How can I succeed on the first challenge? Right? That's why we're here today. All right, so let's look at a key takeaway. Thanks again for all your responses. Wow, we got a really engaged group. I'm excited. It's Saturday morning here. I don't know where it is on your part of the world. Maybe Saturday night, Saturday afternoon, but I'm excited. You're excited. Right? Having a good month this month too. So hopefully you feel the confidence in my voice. So getting funded, a key takeaway. All right, and you see these little key takeaway banners. I want you to either take a snipping tool, take your Snaggets, take your little cameras, take a little shot of it. All right, these are little key takeaways that tomorrow and into Monday, I want you to maybe review. All right, get you good takeaways. The key to getting funded, first takeaway, and managing capital is a business. All right, it's a business, just like a restaurant. It's all about executing a plan properly. Right, and how we execute that is, as we go along, we eliminate the common mistakes. All right, you don't trade more, you don't add new symbols and all this kind of thing and add gold and oil to your trading. You're just going to eliminate the common mistakes. That's the secret sauce, in a sense, of passing these challenges. All right, I want to get your engagement one more time. All right, got a good crowd. Let's see where we're going. How much capital are you looking to trade? Throw some numbers in there, okay? And a little hint. Well, try and think big here. I don't want to see no 5,000, 10,000. Think big now. There you go. All right. One of my trading mentor refers to as commas. You know, like how'd you say? I had a comma. That's the little trader talk, meaning they did really well. So good. Good numbers. I like the words K. I like the words mil, things like that. Good. It doesn't have to start there, right? But that could be your goal that you're looking to trade. And trust me, once you get some decent numbers, the money will come much, much easier. Okay. So let's get your pens and paper ready. All right. Your little 1 to 7 on the left, yes or no on top, real simple. All right. It's going to be an X or a check mark, whatever you want to do. We'll start with number 1. We all set? Okay. We want to start passing our challenges, and we want to do it now. So a lot of people who took several challenges, maybe they're still not there yet. Let's do this now. Number 1, all right, have a strategy that can produce a positive outcome. It sounds so simple, but when we're doing this and we're coaching and we're mentoring, we find that 70% of the people enter a challenge without a specific strategy. So number 1, you have a yes or no, put a little check mark or Y or N in that particular column. Again, you're not going to be judged if you have any N's or too many Y's or anything like that. We're all good here. Okay, we're here to learn. Good. Okay. Sounds simple. Let's go to number 2. Good. Thanks for your honesty and transparency. You got some N's there, which is good. It's fine. Hey, 70% of you should be N. Okay. Number 2, you have a strategy that you can easily identify trades. So 1, you have a strategy or you have a plan. 2, do you have a strategy that you can easily identify the trades? Okay. We find that sometimes we get some strategies that are 6, 7 pages long. I've been doing this 27 years. I can't figure it out, right? The key, simple is best, right? Be able to explain your strategy to a 12-year-old. Can you do that? All right. Doesn't mean the 12-year-old can be successful at it, but I said, look, when this happens, I'm going to do this. Can you do that now? I see a lot of yeses. That's cool. Good. You have a good future ahead of you. Okay. So not just a good strategy, but one that you can easily identify. Let's go to number 3. Good. I'm glad I'm getting good responses in the chat. Good. But make sure you put them on your paper as well. Number 3, learn when to adjust your trade size as the challenge progresses. Wow. What's that all about? How do we do that? Right? Do we have to do that? The answer is, to be successful in these trading challenges, you sometimes have to change your strategy and your risk parameters in order to get to your target. But you don't do it automatically. It depends on where you are. The formula is simple. Okay. So I'm having a little fun here with you guys. It's not really that simple, but there are differences whether you're almost at reaching the point of where you'll be successful passing a challenge versus where maybe you're not, and maybe you're just scratching to maybe try and take the retake, because a lot of these firms obviously give you free retakes, right? Your strategy is going to change throughout your journey. Understand that. All right, number 4. Right, how are we doing? I'm going a little fast paced here because I know you guys you took the action to be here, so I want to make sure I pack in a lot of value. Number 4, have a valid back test that would have passed the challenge the past 2 times, or say 2 of the last 3 times. This is where we get a lot of N's. And I'm guilty of this too sometimes, by the way. Okay. Again, maybe it's not a formal back test. Maybe you just tried it in demo and it worked out well. That's fine too. So though you don't have to be too restricted on like formal back testing, right? But you've tried it, you've done it, it's worked out pretty well. Maybe one time it fell a little short. That's okay too. The question is, and we've asked this as coaches, why take the challenge if you don't have the past results, right? Because if you do certain things and it doesn't have the results that you're looking for, and then you go take a challenge, what do you think the outcome's going to be? Probably the same as what you had in the past. Okay. So number 4, right? Remember, mark this down on your documents. I've got a lot of yeses, which is good. I'm glad. I think a couple of years ago, we wouldn't have got a lot of yeses, but I think the traders now have really embraced the art of backtesting, which is so cool to say. Okay, number 5, don't do it alone. We've clearly have seen that when traders have the support, right, whether it's a coach, a fellow trader, a partner, all right, even a spouse to kind of encourage you, right, the outcomes are better. There are many decisions to make that you have during the challenge, all right, not to mention a little pressure. I don't know, I feel it too, right? Have experienced people guide you through? My personal experience, and this is throughout life, is there are very few things I have done successfully that I have done alone. I've always had somebody, support, encouragement, a coach, someone to guide me, someone to help me not make the mistakes that other people, that I know I'm going to make. Okay. Great. And having friends to do it, even if they don't have experience. I like that comment, Kareem. Don't have experience. That's okay. Just someone to encourage you is a really big part of number 5. Just don't do it alone. Good. All right, let's go. Number 6. We're almost done, right, with our top 7. Number 6, very, very important here. Must play by the risk rules of the challenge firm. Now, what we've seen is most traders either failed to follow the rules, or really what we have found is, more importantly, didn't know the rules, right, of the prop firm challenge. So they say, oh, I didn't follow the rules because I didn't know that. I didn't know I had to close my position before a news event or could hold over the weekend. And, for those who are trading prop firm challenges, you know these little quirky rules, right? It's really, really important to follow the rules, but more importantly, know the rules, follow. Okay. I see some guilty hands follow. So it's end with a little comma guilty. Okay. And we're all guilty of that. And some of them, quite honestly, are a little in depth too. So we understand that. Right. But remember, when you're going to be trading big capital, firm capital, you have to follow the rules. That doesn't go away after you get funded. And number 7, all right, last one on your sheet of paper, didn't take the challenge seriously. All right, the key pathway towards a successful trading career was handled like a slot machine. All right, 31% who failed did so in the first 5 trading days. This slot machine mentality doesn't work, okay? But you're here now. You took the action to be here, and I know you have it better in you, okay? Remember we talked about trading is a business, all right? It's not about going to Las Vegas to play your slot machines. So this is really, really important. And what we find is the traders who got traded maybe put an N next to the number 7, but then quickly made it a Y. And that's good. That's part of development. We understand that. It's the price of development and success, right? But let's make a commitment. Takeaway, number 7, let's all agree, stop doing this, all right? If there's one of the 7 that you say, I just didn't do anything, but number 7, that guy with highlights in his hair from New Jersey said, stop that. This isn't it, number 7, okay? All right, and for those who haven't taken the challenge, I know a lot of you haven't taken it, you got the advantage now. You could take advantage of number 7 and not do it from day one, okay? Big difference between success and failure, okay? Good, how we doing? So we're done with our little sheet, all right? So let's move on to more takeaways. I told you I'm going to flood you with takeaways. Get your cameras ready. Ready? Snipping tools? Good. Funding is achievable for you, right? It's achievable. It's a series of steps that you need to implement and also requires the belief that you can achieve this. So these seven things that you want to eliminate in these 7 steps are really important, but it's really important that you have the belief that you can achieve this. If you don't think you can do it, there's a very good chance that it will happen. And I understand it's frustrating. Maybe you tried it and didn't do it. I know some people who tried it 6, 7 times, right? It's tough to have that belief. But again, what was number 5? I think, don't do it alone. Okay. Good. So the question asks, do you think you can do this? All right. Of the 7, how many yes answers did you have? And you can share that in the chat. And if not, that's okay too. Ask yourself, how many yes answers did you have? And if you had all 7, talk to us and we'll see. Maybe we have maybe another opportunity. But no, all 7 is really important. Be honest with yourself. It's okay. I don't even think I have all 7 sometimes. Right? That's why I'm constantly developing and improving. Right? Constantly monitoring myself. So what's the secret sauce here? I've got some 4 and 5s. That's good. It's good to say. Right? What's the secret sauce? What did we overcome with? Let's stop the insanity from all these that you've seen the past year or so. 1, belief. Know that you can do this. Walk away today saying, I'm not sure, maybe, but I just got one step closer to saying this is possible. All right. And for those who have been funded already, ask yourself this question again. Where's your stop point? Because if you've already been funded, there's plenty more room to go. Number 2, executing the 7 steps. Identifying, which you've already done. So another takeaway, which are the areas that you need to work on. All right. Number 3, fixing the mistakes along the way. It's so normal in any successful journey to make mistakes or have areas that are a little more difficult for you than maybe others. Others have other issues that they're trying to struggle on, other of the top 7. Fixing the mistakes along the way. Making mistakes, very normal, right? But doing what we have to do to make sure you eliminate them along the way is really the secret sauce to the journey of success. So I want to ask you this, and I almost don't even want you to reply in the chat, but want you to think about this weekend. All right? I'm going to ruin your weekend here. What makes you unique and special? What we have found for those who pass the challenges and those who really go on to be successful traders is not only do they get funded, they continue to get funded, but there's something unique and special about them. All right. We have several hundred people here who took action today and took the time out of their weekend to join us. Right? What am I going to remember about some of you? All right. When I do the interviews for prop firms and they ask me as a consultant to sort of interview and talk to some traders that maybe might qualify for their firm, right? I ask them a question. Say, I've met several people today, but I'm going to be driving home, probably sitting in traffic, and I'm going to have trouble remembering who said what. Tell me something that makes you unique and special that I'm going to remember that person. So think about that. What makes you unique and special? Why do I ask that? It's a key component to success. Okay, so remember our choices. We talked about all the things. We talked about the 7 steps. I know I'm throwing a lot at you. All right, that's the intention here. We're already almost in September, and we have a goal here, whether it's 30-day challenges. And I'm so thrilled to see the industry is starting to wake up to the sort of unlimited time to complete a challenge. It's really good benefit for traders looking to get funded. We'll talk about that in a second. But it's really good to see. The key is, are you going to take advantage of that little open door now that the industry has provided? All right, let's make this a little more realistic. All right. A lot of challenges have 10%, say in a month. All right. That's a challenge in itself. Quite honestly, if you can continue to do 10% in a month, again, should be, really, really looking at, we can help you with getting set up with some pretty good hedge funds, things like that. Really, really, let's make it more realistic. Say you have a $1.2 million account, right? 2.5% a month. And say you're at a firm that takes 70%, 70-30 split. In other words, you keep 70 and they keep 30. Okay. That's $21,000 a month. Right? That's not bad. Now, $1.2 million account. Wow, hold on a second, Mike. I'm going to try for a 50,000. But really, when you think about it, the road to 1.2 million, it's really getting funded once, right? Say for 50,000, and then repeating that 3 or 4 more times. Once you start getting that second funding, the money will come easy, whether you pass challenges or the firm just says, look, we're just going to provide more capital to you. All right. So 1.2 million, and I've seen the numbers you had before, we're way above that. So that's pretty cool. I got a very engaged audience. The key is think big. I will get funded. I love the comment in the chat. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Key takeaway. You know the drill. Stepping tool. Right? Camera, phone camera, whatever you guys use. The secret to managing capital, up firm or any other capital, outside capital, friends and family, whatever it is. Right? It's a solid equity curve. It's not about more trades. It's not about hitting home runs with, USD, JPY, anything like that. It's having a consistent, solid equity curve, right? Kind of boring in a way. Let's look at this one, right? How many people have an equity curve sometimes for the month that looks like this, right? You know what equity curves are. And if you don't, it's that sort of, your software will plot your activity, your profit and loss throughout a certain time period, right? And a lot of times we see things like this, right? Is the person been profitable for this time period? Yeah, actually not bad. But if a firm's going to fund you and they're going to look at this, they're not going to want to have anything to do with you, okay? So we need to be more consistent. Stuff like this. When we see equity curves like this on the left side, has its little drawdowns, it has like that little spiky kind of, rose thorn kind of stuff, all right? But there's a steady growth through time, even some drawdowns as well, which is very healthy and very normal, right? Then you see on the right, right? Is it a solid equity curve? Yes, it's nice. Has a little area where it's kind of churning? Yes. Actually, this is I believe this is our algo actually for desire to trade. So it's actually had a good year, steady, and now it's popped again. That's also good, right? Risk managers, prop firm companies, they love to see this. So getting funded is great, but when you see these equity curves like this, all of a sudden now you're going to start attracting people interested in funding you. Okay. We good? Let's type in the chat one more time. All right. So what do you think? You've observed your trading. What do you think is stopping you from scaling up your capital? What's stopping you from getting funded? All right. Is it one of the 7? Which are the ones that you said no to? All right. Is it your ability to maybe take profits at the right time? Right? Is it you? Right? Is it yourself? Look in the mirror. Is that the difference? Right? What we're trying to do, the takeaway here is to identify what is the difference between you getting to where you are to where you want to go. And that today is funding. Get some good responses here. A lot of psychology, by the way, which is good. All right. So the biggest obstacle in a prop firm challenge. Again, I'm glad I'm leaving you with some really interesting takeaways. I can sense already your entire weekend is going to be like absorbed by some of these things, these open-ended questions. I love it. The biggest obstacle in a prop firm challenge. What do you think that is? It's time, right? Often you run out of time. All right. Now, the cool thing, as I mentioned before, is some firms are now sort of relaxing your ability to achieve the percentage gain in certain time to give you unlimited time. Now, of course, you can't be doing this for 3 or 4 years and not getting there. But it's kind of cool that they're opening this door. And one of the reasons I want to emphasize today is to take advantage of that. That has not been the case in the past 3 or 4 years. And only recently, I think the firms are starting to realize that. All right. So that's good to know. And the 7 key mistakes. So you either run out of time or one or more of the 7 key mistakes that we talked about earlier, the ones that you have an N next to, are the things that prevent you from getting to where you want to go. That's what we have found. That's why we're here today. That's why we're here for this training. And then, then that little thing called risk management. Well, the cool thing is, Etienne, gave me the opportunity to speak today because I'm the specialist in risk management. That's what I do. All right. Has to be flawless risk management. How many people have either taken the challenge or just trading live right now? And at the end of the day or at the end of the month, you look and say, I only didn't blow those like 2 or 3 trades that kind of blew my month. If I just took advantage or had control over that and had better risk management on those 2 or 3 trades, right? Whether it's not recognizing a trade, being impatient, whatever the case it is, right? Such a key part to this whole game and knowing the rules on how to deal with risk management with prop firms, okay? So the 4 steps to get funded and trade consistent. Let's go with this, all right? What are your action steps? What is another takeaway we're going to learn here today? What are your action steps that you want to do today? 1, use a strategy that you are comfortable with, all right? I always get a little cringy when I say comfortable with because I should say profitable with. But really, we have found that there's some traders who just don't like certain types of strategies, all right? But ask yourself, even if you're successful, is it a strategy that you're comfortable with? Most people are making money every day, every week, and every month. Usually they're going to say, I'm comfortable with the strategy, which is great. That's why you're here. But if you're not comfortable with it, and I don't care about the guy next to you, how comfortable they are with it, or if they're crushing it, are you comfortable with it? Ask yourself that question this weekend. Hopefully, I'm hitting a few nerves today. Not to mention the management team at Desire to Trade. Let's go to number 2. Okay. Reduce your errors. Sounds so simple. It's not about trading more. It's not about journal activity. When we review journals and we see people increasing their number of trades, we get concerned. All right. Consistency, solid equity curve. All you have to do is reduce your errors. You have a positive outcome, back-tested positive outcome, reduce your errors. You're going to be fine. All right. Play by the rules. All right. How many times have I said that? Remember, guys and girls, all right? These firms are providing you with their capital, all right? And they're asking you for something. Play by the rules. And why? They want you to be successful, contrary to what you hear. They actually want you to be successful, at least the ones that we work with. Play by the rules, all right? And the rules are very normal, okay? Think about it. Another open-ended question. I'm going to go off script here at the end. How many of you would fund yourself? Think about that question. All right, maybe that's number 8 on the list. Maybe a lot of N's there. And if you say yes, fantastic. Love it. You're on your way. But if you say no, or maybe not yet, okay? Think about that question. Use these action steps and you'll get to where you'll say, yeah, I would fund myself. Okay. Cool. All right. And again, lastly, I'll mention it again, self-bias here. I'm a risk manager, but make risk management your best friend. All right. It's not the nemesis. It's not the thing that's holding you back. Risk management, particularly with enterprise risk management, you can Google that. Enterprise risk management is really the best friend that will help you to get to where you want to go. Don't look at it as like a negative, risk management, bad. It limits my profits. Not like that at all. Okay. So how are your goals for 2023 coming? All right. You blink an eye. We're already in September. It's just amazing. I thought I just did my trading plan for 2023. We're already kind of in the third quarter already. How are they coming? All right. Are you making improvements? You don't have to have reached your full goals. That's why we're here today. Are you starting to make improvements? Are you starting to chip away at those little, the 1 through 7s? Maybe you would have had 6 of 7 had N's next to it. Maybe now you only have 4. That's cool. All right. Cool. All right. So far we've learned this path to prop firm funding. All right. I'm going to take a few minutes and just share the best way we feel to you to get started and the ones that we've helped mostly. And really, we've have a really cool program that we've really modified in the past few years to really take advantage of some of the opportunities in the prop firm trading world. And it's called the Ultimate Prop Firm Trading Program. We're really, really excited about it. And we've been doing it for some time now. We know what the little quirky nuances is to get funded and the ones that don't get funded. And we've had some really good successful feedback from a lot of our members and the ones that take the steps that they know they need to do to get funded. So let's talk just briefly about it, and we're going to get to your questions. So we know you have a lot of questions, and start to think about them, start to put them in the chat, and we're going to get to them. So don't think we're going to forget about you. Okay. All right. Saturday, I got plenty of time on my hands to make sure we address all your questions. So let's get you funded in as little as 3 months if possible. Remember, we're almost in September. We want to do this by the end of the year. We can still do it. We still have time. All right. Just have to follow the rules. Which rules? The 7 rules. Who is this program for? Well, a lot of people ask us this question. I'm a beginner, right? And I want to become funded, but I'm just not really sure where I am, and maybe even question my strategy. All right. Perfect. You're in the right place. But we also like to work with profitable traders who, kind of have the know-how but just need that guidance and push. Remember, we talked about not doing it alone. You may have all the tools that you need, but just something's missing. All right. And maybe you want to expand it to manage outside capital too. You're just not sure where to go, whether it's prop or even outside the prop world. One thing for sure, one thing we're not that great on is when gamblers kind of come to us. All right. We really want serious achievers. You're welcome. They're beginner or profitable. But again, the gamblers, it's just not something that we're successful at. So keep that in mind. You can stick around if you want, but no gamblers, okay? We want people who are serious. So what's included in this program? Well, the Ultimate Prop Firm Trading course. Talk about that in a second, right? We have a trader mastermind where you're invited to a special group session led by myself. The other coaches are part of it as well. And we go through individual things to address mostly the 7 areas to help you improve, right? We include strategies as well that work well, not just for profitability, but also for prop firm challenges. Again, they're very compatible for the rules that prop firms throw at you, all right? We have a Slack mastermind group. We're very big here on the power of community, all right? And we have several communities, not just some Discord channel that pops up these little buy software kind of stuff. It's actual group members that don't do it alone. You not just have myself and the coaching team, you have the entire membership group that is very engaged in their success. Very, very valuable resource. We have resources and tools for the challenges that we'll talk about in a second. We have mentoring from myself. My goal is to make sure you reach your goals. It's very simple. That's my job description, okay? And I do this every day. I'm immersed in the markets. I always joke that, like, what's the first thing you do in the morning? Before I even brush my teeth, I'm actually checking, the overnight action in the Forex and futures markets, okay? And some more. So here is basically a snapshot of the 9 self-paced modules that you can do pretty much on your own, okay? It's, I won't get into each one of them, but really goes into introduction. We'll talk a lot about the major prop firms because we know there's a lot of them there, right? How do you assess the variables in each of these prop firms? There's so many of them out there, right? We talked about things like in module 7 about managing the progress, right? Once you're in the challenge, you're not doing it alone. We're here with you. You can ask the questions, right? It also addresses, we get this question a lot. What do I do if, like, I'm down and I got, say, so many days left? Do I go for just the retake or do I go for it and try to pass the challenge, like hit the Hail Mary, hold one, all right? These are the questions that we answer, all right, in module 7, all right? We're there for you in module 6. I'll go step back, a little backwards, say challenge strategies. We know some of you may not have a strategy that you want to use in your prop challenge. We have 2 that we'll talk about in a second. And also later on too is as you develop and you get funded, you may have opportunities to manage outside capital as well. I do that as well. So we can guide you along that. It's very interesting element to being funded by non-prop firm means. And it's something that's getting more and more popular. There's a lot of money out there looking for a home. Okay. So it's something that you can take advantage of with a nice solid equity curve. Okay. All right. So a little bit about our Slack mastermind group. All right. We get feedback and support anytime. Myself and the coaches are on 24 hours a day. We live in different parts of the world, so there's constant coverage. So when you have a question, you don't have to send an email or that. We'll reply right away. And a lot of our members will also contribute. Say, hey, look, I had that problem, and this is how I overcame it. All right. We have several people, our members here too. Again, they talk about their challenges that they just passed, whether they're struggling. All right. And you'll see constant feedback, whether it's encouragement or actually solutions to help you get past. All right. We have our monthly funded trader calls. All right. We want to make sure you have the support that you need. I run these mastermind calls and you are invited as a member of our group. Okay. Really interesting topics we try to cover and ones that really hit the nerve that you talked about before. Do I trail? Do I take stiff targets? All right. What about strategies that work for the challenge itself? How do I handle that? We'll go in depth and talk about those. And you have access to all the recordings that we've done in the past. So you have the archives to help you out. We have a very big emphasis on the psychology element of trading as well. We know that's a big hindrance on your success. So we include a lot of masterminds on that too. Okay. And again, we have an example here where Oscar looking at the recordings and really excited and took some value out of that as well. All right. And again, we have a lot of members that are really on their way in their journey. And you could see from some of these posts in our group that maybe they haven't hit their final goal, but they're on their way, which is exactly what we want to see. All right. Does this program work? If you follow the steps and put the effort in and No gamblers, okay? No gamblers, please. All right. The model is there for you to take advantage of. And we have the people such as, Bobby, who's really, we're so excited about him. He's on his way. So you know a little bit about me. All right. I'm going to be your mentor and coach along the way. All right. Full-time trader since 2006. I started in 98. Certified in risk management. Again, another key element to doing this. And managing outside capital as well. Obviously, that number is actually a little outdated, but higher than that now. But we'll leave it at 3 million. All right. Etienne and I, you're familiar with Etienne. We sat on a beach about 3 years ago and said, we have to do something. I'm looking at this picture, actually. We're like pondering. We have to do something. This is just ridiculous. All right. We have to be able to provide tools and mentoring and coaching to help people get funded. And this idea was born about 3 years ago on a very, very hot day in Daytona Beach. And again, author of The Risk of Trading. Pretty cool stuff on risk management if you so desire. So what are some of the results that our students have, right? We love to see when they get funded, okay? Again, does it happen the next day? No. Sometimes it happens on the first try. Sometimes it's that first one that they kind of learn their lessons and then they go on to the next one and then they start kicking that path to success, all right? The strategies that fit the prop firms. Now, if you have a working strategy, we recommend you keep it. We get a lot of questions. Will you provide a strategy? Well, we have 2 strategies that seem to work very well consistently and sort of are prop firm approved, all right? We have a reversal type strategy that we call the Bollinger Band reversal, right? And kind of takes reversion to the mean type things where we have a pullback and things like that. We also have our trend-based strategy called Secretariat that I use each and every day. It's really a vital part of my business as a trader, right? Whether it's in prop or outside too. I use it on the managed capital side as well. In trend-based markets, it's just so consistent and provides a really solid equity curve. Here we have Elliot talking about how Secretariat has helped him, along the way as well. Okay, we have one. Those are the 2 basic core ones, but we have others as well. But if you have a strategy, all right, keep it. Let's work with that. Maybe there's a little tweak because remember, you have a strategy that we want you to feel comfortable with. Very, very important. Okay, so let's talk about a first bonus that we want to give you. All right, live professional trading discussion. Right, we hope you could be a part of our community. And the first one, September 5th. These are in addition to the mastermind calls that will come every month. But on September 5th, we're going to have a special session where we'll host an introductory call for new students only. All right, new members only. We'll answer your questions, help you get you started on the right track. We'll connect with you with other aspiring funded traders. All right. And I also want to get to know you better. I want to get to know what makes you unique and special, right? What are some of the skill sets that you bring to the table that you may not even realize are going to help you in your trading? All right. And we'll go over the path to getting funded by the end of the year. All right. Now, the big question we get a lot is, all right, in addition to this now, when I eventually take the prop firm challenge, do I need to pay the challenge fee on that? So we're going to include a complimentary challenge fee to get you started. I think this is pretty cool. All right. You don't have to pay the fee to the prop firm challenge. We'll take care of it. All right. You can go any valid challenge at Desire to Trade prop firm, or we use DarwinX as well. We love their transparency, their platform, and we feel we're so excited to work with them at DarwinX, and we will take care of the challenge fee on your behalf. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. All right. Number 3, pre-challenge, one-on-one coaching. Remember what we said. We don't want you to do this alone, right? You'll get one-on-one coaching session with our team before you take on the challenge, whether it's myself or one of the coaches here. We want to make sure you're absolutely ready. We're going to review your trades. We're going to review your journal. We're going to review your back test, and we want to review you. Are you ready to do this? Right? This is the big separation, because if there's some things we need to work on, we'll say, hey, let's work on this for a few weeks, and then we can take the challenge. How's that? As opposed to just blindly doing it and then having all the problems that, challenges that you have during the whole thing. All right. big separation and improves your success rate of passing the challenge, right? The first time, right? If it's not the first time, you go to the next one. Another private coaching session after the challenge, right? After you've taken the challenge, or maybe you're about to, how did you do? All right, well, I got my results. I passed or didn't pass. No, but what did you do? What were some of your lessons learned? What are some of the areas, remember, make less mistakes? What were some of the areas that you can make less mistakes the next time around? All right. And bonus 4, we include a Power Trader Collection Ultimate Day Trader bonus package. We have course information about market overviews, how to trade overnight New York sessions and Tokyo sessions. Tokyo session, by the way, is doing very well this past few months. Doing very well. Normally, it's not even on my radar. Now it's like my number 2 success rate so far. So really, really cool stuff on how to trade these different phases, right? What do I do in chop markets? What do I do in trend markets? We've all had those same questions, okay? How do we backtest, right? How do we assess breakout trades, things like that? So there's a lot going on. And we also include some risk management intensive stuff that will really challenge you from a trader perspective that yours truly has put together for you, all right? So a lot of stuff that you really need to take advantage of. And it's going to take some time, but you'll work your way through, okay? So we'd love to have you on board, all right? We'll get right to it. All the bonuses included, everything, including the free challenge, $1,197, or if you feel more comfortable, 4 payments, $389. We're trying to make this as reasonable as possible for you to join our community and really get you started on helping you together, getting you to take your goal, okay? That's the link to get started. And don't worry, we're going to ask your questions. We're going to answer your questions now in a few minutes. Don't worry, this link will not go away. I'll keep it on the bottom like that, all right? But get your questions ready. I'm curious to see what the group has. Remember, what you learn from the program, how to get funded by prop firms the first time, and leveraging external capital to trade full-time. Is that your goal? For a lot of you, it is. Maybe you like to just trade part-time for a while you have your successful career. It's fine too. I did that for many years before I went full-time. Strategies that will increase your chances of success. Again, if you have a strategy, we'll try and work with that, especially if you're comfortable. But we have them available if you need to. And again, a step-by-step plan to get you profitable and scale up. We have files on all of our members and their progress and their areas of need to work on. All right. So we manage this sort of like a doctor has patients. Okay. We take them very, very seriously. Okay. So there's a lot there. Let's look at a snapshot. All right. Get your cameras ready one last time. What are our favorite candidates? What do we look for in traders? And ask yourself, is this you? Right? The ability to execute a plan. Do you have that ability? Or more importantly, the desire to want the ability to execute a plan. When I interview prop traders or wanting to be traders who want to trade outside capital, the number one thing I'm thinking when I'm interviewing them is, do they have the ability to execute a plan? I don't care if they're profitable. I don't care about track record. I'm just looking to say, can they execute a plan? I interviewed someone 3 weeks ago, and they had solid risk management, but they were just lost. They didn't really know. I don't think the strategy was really working for them. Wasn't a good fit. But he was a project manager, and he worked on building like small commercial buildings, right? And he was very task driven, documented his progress, had meetings with his staff and things like that. I go, it's going to be a great trader. So they'll be coming, we found them a nice home. Has confidence, integrity, and passion for trading and the business. I think the fact that you all showed up today on a Saturday kind of checks that box. I'm going to go with the checkbox on that. Willing to invest the time to learn about risk management, right? It's more than just about where do I put my stop. There's a lot more about it, right? We're here. That's what I specialize in, okay? If you told me where's Tesla going to be in the next 2 weeks, I probably have a 50% chance of telling you what being successful. But learning about the quirky nuances are so important. Once you master that, you're on your way. We also like to see preparedness, So we're going to ask you to do some work here. We need you to be excited about it and to put in the effort. Are you trainable? Right? Open to new ideas. All right. And, we could slap a little bit too. We understand that, we all have our little habits, but we want to be able to see if you're trainable. And again, what is unique and special about them, right? When I meet you, what is something I'm going to remember about? Right? I met someone a few months ago and they really didn't, I don't think, had the skill sets to do this, but I was willing to teach them and they were very eager to do it. They're prepared, very trainable. But they said, one of the coolest things I did in my life was I helped my dad run his restaurant. They had Chinese takeout. And sometimes I would work 14 hours a day. But the goal was just to get it going, get it moving. It was successful, but it took a lot of work. And then I'd go to sleep, and the next morning, sometimes I have to wake up early and do that all over again. That's like golden. Like, that's something so special. When I drove home that day, I go, I remember that guy, right? In fact, I'm going to follow up with him next week, see how he's doing. Okay. So many of you maybe ask, okay, what is this? What if this is not for me? Well, here's the simple thing. And I'm excited, that's why I love working with Etienne in this group. If you follow the program, right, you have to put the effort in, you have to do the work, and fail the challenge. And I'll say, don't pass. I don't like the word fail. No such thing as failure. We'll work with you personally to get you to pass it. All right. And remember, you're part of our community. We're going to make sure you're successful. When you can pass a paper trading version of the test, then we'll pay you to take it again. Remember, have a back test that shows you can do it. We'll walk you through it, and you can take the test again. If you don't pass, it's okay. All right. We walk away, you refund, and you walk away, and we hopefully that you take some of the knowledge that you've gained from us and take it and make your personal world and your family's lifestyle a better place. Okay? Key takeaway, remember, stepping tools, with our guidance, you can do this, right? Let us have the opportunity to help you. You can do this. Belief, okay? You joined us here. I know you can, all right? Final thoughts. I'll leave on that high note, a little spiritual high note, and let's get to your questions. I know you have a lot. Alex, take it away.
Thank you, Michael. Really did the presentation there. So we have a couple of questions already, and as I'm saying that there are like 5 more rankings. So I will start with the ones that I already have here since, to the middle of the conversation, plus the last couple of minutes. We have here like 3 or 4 questions that will mix into one because they are more or less the same topics. Are from Rich, Carl, and Andy, asking all of them in the way of like what access could we get to Michael Thomas? Do we get one-on-one coaching with him? I see on the Slack room or the mastermind classes. Like it's basically like what level of access do they get to Michael Thomas and the team doing this program?
Okay. Yeah, good question. It's a very fair question. I'm a junkie. So I'm a trader junkie. So I'm in the room, in the Slack channels all day. All right. And I'm on the East Coast, New York time. So, if you're overseas or whatever, you can adjust your time for that. But you have access to me all day, right? If you have questions that maybe I'm not the specialist in, say maybe on algorithms or things like that, or coding, we have others like Alex who can, answer those. But you have access all day. Any questions along your journey, we'll be happy to answer them. We didn't talk about it earlier, but we have different channels in our Slack group. So if it's specific to a strategy, specific to risk management, specific to maybe, sharing trades and things like that, we have different channels to address that. So you have access to me there. When you come on board, all right, we'll have our meet and greet. We'll have a session where I will get to know you better. Then right before you're ready to take the challenge, right, you will have a one-on-one as well with myself. Every month, you will have a mastermind call that I chair. And then we go about an hour. But quite honestly, most of the time, after we're done with the formal presentation and the feedback, we kind of turn the cameras off and I just hang around for as long as you need. So you kind of get like a free session in that sense. And by the way, and this is where I hope Etienne doesn't hear this, but there are times where if you have something personal you want to discuss with me and, maybe just for a little bit, look, we don't we don't have clocks here. You just let me know. Okay. I really want you guys to succeed. So if that is helping, I know as a trader, I wish I had that when I was growing up. I had a coach, but he was always on the clock. I mean, and I didn't like that too much. If you have something you need to discuss with me, you just let me know. Just be respectful of my time, and yeah, you got it. Okay. And if there's additional coaching that you need or anything like that, we can, arrange something that as well. I hope that answers your question.
Perfect. Mike. Yeah, I think that's a pretty concrete answer to that. We have a question here from David asking, if I already have my strategy but want help fine-tuning and getting ready for prop firm, is that okay? Something that you can help them with?
Oh, David, bring it. I mean, yeah, you're really in my sweet spot I love new traders. I love people who engage in entrepreneur, people who want to take steps, but they just don't know really where to, what to do. But if you're already there, you've been trying this and maybe having some success, but you just need that little fine tune, that this really is your sweet spot. I mean, yeah. As a risk specialist, one of the things I feel I do pretty well is I can identify areas that maybe you're not even aware of. So journaling reviews or KP, your performance summary reports, if you just spit those out, I'd be happy to take a look at those, say, hey, I know you're successful. I know you have, positive, whatever, but maybe your risk reward is a little off here. Maybe we need to increase it or slow it down or whatever. These little tweaks is really what gets you to the next level. So the answer to your question is, oh, yes. Love it.
Perfect. Thank you. We have here another question from Gabriel saying, you mentioned to learn how to adjust your trade size during the challenge. Can you share a bit more on when you should adjust your trade size during the challenge itself?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have a really extensive analysis of that in our material, but let me give you a quick hack. If there comes a point where the time element becomes a factor, and if you have no time element, a lot of this may go away. But if you're very close to achieving the passing of the challenge, say it's like a 10% goal and you're like 8% there, all right? And you have a lot of time to do it. You could just keep trading your plan. But if you have, say, 2 or 3 days to do it, go for it. And this is the few times, and this is a risk manager talking, okay? And I hope the prop world isn't hearing this, but you go for it. Let's face it, it's a challenge. You want to get funded, all right? So I'm the one to say, let's adjust size and push it, all right? You go for it. But at the same time, you want to lock in, say, a free retake or something. So if it doesn't work, you do it. Because being 1% away from success doesn't mean anything. You get a free retake. Well, you may as well just go for it. Now, if you say has some struggles during the challenge and say you're down 4% and you have 3 or 4 days left, all right, you want to go for it as well, all right? Your goal is now going to change to getting the retake. And if you're, say, 2% above and you really only have, say, a few days left, all right, now the question is you really want to pull the brakes on, accept the fact that this is really solid business management, solid risk management, accept the fact that it's probably not going to happen, but now you want to lock in the free retake, okay? So it goes into a little more in depth, but there's a little sort of cheat sheet on some of the things that you should consider. Adjust size and adjust the sort of go for it. And by the way, go for it can mean trailing your trade as opposed to maybe taking a stiff target, right? Not just size. There's a lot of these little variables that play into it, but I hope, each individual is different, and that's what we work for. We work with you on that individually, but those are some of the sort of little cheat sheet answers to your question.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. We have here one from Mario asking, I mainly trade futures and trade part-time since I have a full-time job. You work with futures trader as well?
Hi, Mario. You're preaching to the choir. I trade futures all the time, actually. Futures is really right up there with my number one strategy. I trade the S&P futures, ES and NQ. I do a little gold and oil, but really the domination is that. And if you trade full time, futures is a great avenue to do so. So FX has its place because it's 24 hours, But the S&P futures also allow for, there you go. Thanks, Mario. Yes. You're in my dream world. I live your world every day. I trade pre-market in the mornings and then also do it. The beautiful thing about futures is you can be flexible with lifestyle, also with FX as well too. So consider that. And yes, we can definitely work through. And we have a separate channel just for futures, and I'm very active in that, in our Slack channel. So, I'll go right in there and show you charts or what I'm looking at and things like that. So yeah, you've definitely hit the nail on the head, Mario. Hopefully you can be a part of us. I'd love to work with you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Mario. I would have here just a comment from Eric that I want to mention. He's saying, really appreciate this, guys. Definitely giving me inspiration to get started. He has to go. So yeah, thank you, Eric, for coming.
Perfect, Eric. Yeah, good luck with whatever your journey is. We hope, be a part of our journey, but if whatever life takes you, I hope you're successful.
Great. We have here a couple of questions. I'm just trying to organize them. So, okay, yeah. So Sandra was asking how to keep or how to stay funded. Would you be with us throughout the way to help us stay funded?
Great question. Who asked that question, by the way?
Sandra.
Sandra, welcome aboard. Yes, actually, it's good. And, it's good that you brought that up. I didn't really touch on that. You're really part of our community for life. All right. So we know that once you get funded, and this is sort of a news flash, and I don't want to disappoint anybody. We're on a good mood today, but the fun just begins. I mean, once you're funded, now you have a risk manager at a firm overlooking your head. And I know, because sometimes that's me for other firms. So I know there's a lot of pressure there, and getting funded the first time or the second time is good. But once you start growing that and staying funded, it becomes even more challenging, not just from a performance standpoint. And Sandra, to ask that question, you may be in that situation. The psychology element of trading really starts to show its head. And we put a lot of effort into helping you out in that regard. So yes, you're with us. And by all means, our goal is not get you funded, but also to really, in a selfish way, it helps us as a community as well, as a company, to see your success grow. So yeah, we're very funded. And actually, we have, once you start to reach a certain level, there's a sort of advanced stuff that we can provide you and help you, because we know, we even have relationships with psychologists, trader psychologists, and, if that's needed, to help you, because we know the psychology element really becomes a factor in that. So, by the way, I've been doing this 20 years, and I also have a trader psychologist, because sometimes the zeros get a little too big. So I know where you're coming from.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. One question here we have is how much attention do you pay to fundamentals in the whole methodology? Is there any part of the community that talks or uses fundamentals for trading?
There is. Good question. Jeff, yeah, it's there are. We find that different people take it differently, the fundamentals. One thing we were very aware of from a fundamental standpoint is sort of like news events and things like that. Like, it's not just about technical analysis and charts. We have a sort of a blend into that. But we also found that, quite honestly, this is why I love being a coach, is I learned a lot from the fundamentalists that we have in our group. I'm all charts, I'm patterns, things like that, strategy. But there's a place for fundamentals, particularly on the equity side and stock side. I'm a big earnings play kind of person for stock and equity. So I have to be involved in the fundamentals of that. But it's something that it's a growing part of it. You seem like that's an important part of it too, and you'd fit right in for sure.
Thank you, Mike. We have here another question from Pang. How to manage the trading with a specific time limit duration, because there are no opportunities all along. I assume it is talking about, like how to manage trading in a set time. Like if you have 2 hours for trading or similar scenario.
Yeah, it's very first of all, welcome to because you're not alone. If we all have lifestyles that kind of get in our way, or at least make it a part of our life. I mean, if you have family, kids, I mean, kids aren't like get in the way, but they're just a part of your life that you have to be respectful for and stuff. So we feel that you can be successful in trading if it's a very, very important part of your life. It doesn't have to be 24 hours of your life. In fact, if you're too engaged, actually, we find it to be detrimental in a sense. So the cool thing about this business, and we want everyone to take advantage of, and we embrace, is take advantage of the time that you have and the lifestyle that you lead, but allow this to be an important part of your life, but not dominate your life. And no, we love to see firms who are just like all in, sleeping, eating, drinking, trading. But quite honestly, we feel there's a nice sweet spot for having it to be an important part of your life, but also a flexible part. And that means travel, family, whether it's caregiving, things like that. We love it. I love trading in hotel rooms and on cruises. But at the same time, I love to be on home base and be, aware of the opportunity. So the cool thing about the business, to make a long answer short, take advantage of the beautiful opportunities that this business has. And that is the ability to do things that you couldn't normally do if you had a full-time job.
Really, really good, Mike. We have here a question from Ida asking, FTMO and other prop firms don't have any more time limits in their evaluations. They used to be 30 days, but now they are unlimited time as new normal in the prop firms. Does that change anything on the program or what you have been doing since, this program existed since before those rules changed recently?
Yeah. Excellent question. And I'll answer it this way. It really is great. If it helps the trader, fantastic. This is what we found. Okay, now you have an unlimited time frame. And when they announced this, we got so much feedback. Like, hey, they see what you're doing, a little bit. Okay, so how are the results? Well, guess what? Remember the 7 things that we talked about earlier? That doesn't eliminate, having unlimited time doesn't eliminate the need to make yeses out of those top 7. So if you have more time and 5 of the 7 things on your list are still N, it's not going to be successful. Okay. So while it's great to see the industry move in this direction, anything that helps traders, we're a big proponent of, and time was a big one. Great. Now let's work on the 7. How's that for an answer? So I hope that helps you a little bit. So remember, it's not the ticket to funding. You still have to work on the 7. And we find that people are learning the hard way. Just because they have the time, they still have to work on the 7. I hope that answers your question.
I think that's pretty good answer, Mike.
It's a great answer, Alex.
Thank you, Mike.
We have fun here, by the way, guys. We try to have a lot of fun.
We have here a question from Almoatas. Sorry if I butcher your name. Assuming I join tomorrow, is there a clear path how to handle the process, or is there a clear process for new members to join in this path to profitable property trading, or do they have to figure things out by themselves?
No, that's a great question. Thank you for that question. Yeah, I'll give you a very transparent path. Immediately, once you join our community, you'll have access to all the materials and education that you need to get started. All right. I would suggest you work on that and don't rush it. You have homework too, by the way. I know I'm a pain in the neck coach. You're going to have homework and you're going to have to submit it. And we'll review it, things like that. And then once we have our initial session in a week and a half, September 5th, something like that, that'll be their next step. All right. And we're really going to start the identification process of what are the areas that need to work on? What are the areas that you're really nailing? And let's start that identification. We'll also immediately, as of Monday, immerse you into our community. All right. So you get to meet people. We have spin-off groups. I didn't talk about this, but we have spin-off groups in our community for say futures, Forex, or overnight trading, or people with risk management challenge, that they've formed, and we help facilitate this, their own little mini groups. So if there's an area that you feel you're working on or something, say, hey, I'll ask the group, say, I have someone who may be interested in joining. I think it'll benefit. So can you invite them? And I facilitate some of them, and then I just let them do their thing. It's amazing that it's like the power of community turbocharge, where they're exchanging daily report cards and looking over their lessons learned. I'm like, this is just a dream come true when I see this. So there's a lot to do to get started, but yes, there is a path, and you're definitely not on your own. In fact, to be honest, I'm just being full disclosure, you'll probably be sick of me and the coaches in the first few weeks, but it's all good. It's all love.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. We have here one question about the pricing from Stanley. What other people that are interested in working with you, but at the moment don't have the complete fee for the one-time payment? What options do they have available?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for attending, and I'm glad you did. What you can do is, what I suggest, and just being honest, is keep in communication, stick with us. Okay. And, we put a lot of effort, and, the coaching staff and the support staff and everything like that. And, there's a lot to make this happen. All right. And we love to have, your support and whatever, but, once you're at that point where you're able to, let us know. And, again, we have those payment options to make it as flexible as possible. But again, if the time isn't right for you, then when the time is right, don't forget about us, because we're not going anywhere. So let's keep in touch. Okay. How about that for a fair commitment? Hope that's the least we can do to help you out.
It seems that Stanley is pretty happy with your answers, and he said, glad to be here, and thank you for that. Kalakoti just joined, so yeah, thank you. Shout out to Kalakoti for your joining. And he just said, I just joined the program, and what will be the first step, and how much time will it take on average to be able to get ready to start your proper evaluation?
Yeah, good question. By the way, just for Andrika, remind me, okay? Because I tend to forget these things. So remind me about having an additional session. So yeah, what's the first step? Well, it's different for everyone. One of the things we want to do is, when we have our initial session, is to identify what are the areas that you need to work on, and what are the areas. So if you have those one or two things that are maybe simple, like low-lying fruit, that would accelerate a little bit. But remember, it's, it all depends on the individual when you're ready to do it. And it could be a lot of different variables that play a role into it too. Not to mention just maybe yourself. Maybe there's some things that you need to overcome yourself. So maybe the discipline areas or confidence or something like that. Something that takes a little more time. We don't want to rush it, but at the same time, we're entrepreneurs. We know that taking action and taking those steps to do things, to move on, you'll never have the perfect time to wait for everything to be in line. So you have to push the button sometime. So, we'd like to see you within 8 to 12 weeks be ready. Some have done it within 3 weeks, right? They've already been started. But if you're new on board, maybe a little longer, we'll assess that as time comes. But don't think this is like, a year from now type thing. No, we're entrepreneurs. We like pushing buttons. We want you engaged as quick as possible.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Here we have questions regarding the pricing and regarding the access. Andrika was asking if after 3 months you can still use the models. And yes, once you join, if you choose the payment plan, and once you complete the payment plan, or if you choose the one-time payment, the access to all the models and the whole course, it's lifetime access. So you can use it 3 months, next year, in 2 years' time. You will have access to that, and if we make updates and if we improve the program, you will also get access to those updates that are related to the program in that fee. So just clarifying that there were a couple of questions related to the access and that, since we mentioned the payment plan before, and some people got slightly confused with that. So we have here a question from from Ida, again, asking if I work full time, how has experience been for people that work full time and join the program?
Yeah, good question. And you're not alone, by the way. The cool thing about this business, especially particularly on FX and on futures, is they're 24-hour markets. So it's great. One thing, the challenges you're going to have is you do have to allocate some time to develop and work on this. All right. It's not something you're just going to sign up and then you can be hitting home runs. So you do have to make a commitment, right? And there's a sort of is implemented into your balanced lifestyle. But full time is not a problem. I've been there. So is the progress slower? Not necessarily. I've seen people who have 24 hours to trade and their progress is a little bit slower than maybe some really aggressive, spirited entrepreneurial people who are unique and special, who just get home and on lunch hour they're in their car, watching and getting knowledge. So you go at your own pace. But this is the beauty of this business. This is why I love it so much, is you could have other things going on in your life and still be successful.
Great. Really, really great. Daniel is asking, are the mastermind calls, are they monthly calls, or how many times a week, how many times a month do they get those calls with the group?
Good question. The standard, they're monthly calls, and they're generally on the third Saturday of the month. They are recorded as well. So you have access if you can't make it. It's up usually within 24 hours. And you have access to all the archives of the mastermind calls over the past, it's going back 3 years now. There are an occasion, and we're doing more of this, where we'll just have a spur of the moment. Hey, this Friday we're having a special call. You're feel free to join us. Next week we're having a live session because of the unemployment number. Some people like to trade the futures and that. We'll go live and just do like sort of a pre-market live session kind of thing. So in addition to the mastermind, there's other calls as well. And usually those are recorded in addition. But the general masterminds are generally once a month, third Saturday of every month. And they are Saturday mornings. So USA, New York time. So say you're in the UK, whatever that 6 hours difference, whatever that case may be.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. That seems to be pretty clear. And you answered in that, other two questions related to the calls, and that's great. Answering multiple questions in one. Rafael was asking about something similar to what we talked before about access to the coaches, since the coaches living probably in different time slots as our members. How does that work in terms of, like if we ask a question to coach, maybe their morning, it's our night. What can they expect in that sense in terms of, asking questions in the group chats and to coaches with the time difference that everyone is in different places?
Yeah. Well, and this is just happens to be, we're generally in 3 different parts of the world. So I'm in North America. Etienne, that you introduced before, is in Bangkok, and Alex in Macau. So we have coverage pretty much the whole 24 hours. All right. If there's a question that you ask that's a general question, maybe to myself, and Alex or Etienne's there and can answer it, they'll get on there right away. They won't wait for me to do it. If it's specific or an area that I know maybe Alex is more specialized in, I'll either say, hey, Alex will answer your question shortly, or, I'll give it a shot, like that. So there's a lot of sort of coverage, and quite honestly, sometimes we'll overload you a little bit, which is something we're working on, but you're not alone. It's not going to be sitting there like in the email box for 4 days. Personally, this is why I'm here. I don't want that. We want to be unique, want to be special, and we hear the frustration of other programs, and I always speak very highly of everybody. I don't say anything bad, but you need to have answers. And if you have a question, it's a simple one. You deserve an answer. You deserve an answer relatively quickly, because maybe you're in the middle of a trading day and you want that answer, that day. We understand that we're not just coaches, we're traders as well. And that's kind of the cool thing that makes us unique and special.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. In order to respect everyone's time, I will be just answering one more question. We have a lot more questions. So all the questions that we didn't have time to get through in the call to have, every time Michael answers one question, there are like 3 or 4 more questions coming in. If you didn't get your question answered right now due to time constraints, you can send us an email at support@decidetotrade.com, and we will be happy to answer you there with more time, since we are out of time for the program at the moment, or the masterclass. We have here one question, which was from Sheda. Is the program open for trades that are already funded? So it's a different question than what we have had.
Yes, of course it is, because usually if you're funded, obviously you have achieved a certain milestone, but is that your final milestone? Right? So the question is, do you want to continue? Is it maintain that funding? Do you want to branch out for additional funds? Do you want to maybe start something on your own, some type of managed office or something? So there's always an opportunity for us to help you in that regard. But even if someone's saying, no, I'm happy where I am. Well, to me, like, I'm always trying to improve. I've been doing this for how many years, and I have a development plan. I'm always looking to improve. And a lot of the really good ideas I have, particularly in the area of AI and coding and things like that, I get from the group. So I almost become a student in a sense. So to me, there's never such a thing where I've achieved, and hopefully this is your case, where you always want to do better. So this is definitely a platform where, we can help you get to that next step. I'm assuming there's a next step. And again, a lot of it's just maintaining where you are. Well, that's not easy either. We've known people who've been funded where it's very challenging, particularly in the psychology elements of things too. I know Indriga mentioned earlier about, is there any type of things you work on, discipline and things like that? We're putting a lot more emphasis on trader psychology. Our mastermind calls are very heavy on that topic for the rest of the year. So something that, that usually plays a role in funded traders just as much as people looking to get funded.
Please jump in for a few seconds here. I think Michael did a good job today. Definitely over-delivered on what we discussed in the beginning. A lot of good things you can run with here. And whether you decide to join us or not, which would be awesome, of course, to work with you. But if you decide to play yourself, you've got enough stuff here to kind of get running and get some results quickly. If you want to work with us, we would love to help you get there faster and help you get there with some support and some coaching along the way, of course. And hopefully we can work with you. That'll be awesome. Any questions, feel free to reach out. We'll send you the recording by email in a few days, and you have access to this if you want to go back, watch it again, or go through this again. And we'll catch you on YouTube or somewhere else in the next few days. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. And we'll be in touch. Have a nice day or evening. Ciao.